Hello, 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 the people of YouTube. There's always like the delay in the start of it, which I had to wait till I just did a big yawn, and so then I just had to wait out the yawn. Okay. Ask our question. Did you like season 2, episode 5 of The Last of Us? Question mark. Start poll. Oh my god. Excuse me. Me personally, I don't think I care anymore. Honestly, I don't. I feel exhausted. It almost feels like homework that I'm watching it and taking notes. Like, I don't even write stuff I'm excited about. I'm just like, I don't think I really care. Oh, Mr. Caskell. Caskell? You liked it? Okay, I'll tell you what I did like. I liked the Seraphite stuff. I thought that was really cool. How they did that. Stayed very true, very authentic to the game, but I didn't know if we were in the forest part of the game, like where you are with Abby, or if it was the park. The park was not that thick of a forest, okay? So I like that. Like, I think when there's like a bunch of stalkers, that was like definitely spooky. I do like the intro to the episode where it's kind of talking about the spores. I thought that was really good. Um, I like, Seraphites, we get to the hospital, I like Tante Gabrielle as Nora. I really do. I can't wait to get more of her next time. I do like that next episode we get Pedro. I did little, let me show you, hang on. I did little hearts around Pedro's name. I don't know if you can see in my notes. You can't even read it though, really. So there's that. The Seraphites was brutal. Like, it was crazy. Like, I was like, that's like, but I kind of like that because they've been portrayed the whole series so far, season 2, as being, not like, sort of innocent in a way. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you see them kind of getting hunted by these wolves. You don't know who they are, why they're doing it. You see they have like this cult-like sort of thing. You know what I mean? And then you have Dina explain what the Seraphites are, I guess. We can't just, like, learn from observing or, like, learn from Abby later on in the next. Like, I don't know. I don't like when they explain everything to me. I'm just like, let it just reveal. Let it just reveal. Those were kind of like the dubs for me in the episode. I mean, I thought the Nora and Ellie scene was fun. Like, it was like, the thing is, like, with the game is sometimes they stick to the dialogue to such a T that it's just like, yeah, that works. The way the dialogue was written in the game, whether it's the first game or the second game, I feel like it works. When they sort of like started, I don't know, like, I didn't need Nora to tell Ellie that Joel murdered her dad. You know what I mean? I didn't think that was, like, super necessary. Like, it could be just, like, think of what he did. In the aspect of just, like, it's not necessarily that, like, Abby's father was murdered. You know what I mean? The whole complex thing with Joel is that, like, he did what he did against everybody that ever gets infected from there. Again, you can run it back. Could they have created a cure? Probably not, and I stand on that business, because you can't create a cure for, like, a fungal infection, blah, 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 blah. We can get into it. We won't get into the specifics, but we could. So, like, when it, like, and that weight of that decision of it being, like, a possibility even, that's, like, kind of, I feel like, where that weight is with what he did and why people feel the way that they feel. You know what I mean? But then, like, is sort of like, it's sort of almost like lost like that. It's almost just like it's Abby's revenge tale, and the revenge tale for that, you know what I mean? Which it is for everybody that Joel murdered, you know what I mean? But more importantly, indirectly, the ones Joel didn't murder, like everybody who gets infected after. So, I kind of like that being kind of like the weight of it. I think that worked in the game. But yeah, so running through, I guess, the rest of the episode. We start off with the wolves. You get the basement into the hospital. That's where we discover spores. It makes sense. I agree with you. They could have left Ellie keep investigating and not spill the beans. Yeah, like when like the whole in episode 2 when it's like the whole Abby long monologue whole thing, it just like it was I was just waiting for Joel to shut her up, okay? Like I don't like when they do explain things in the show, I think like you don't have to like and that's the thing with a lot of like writing these days, it's like the people making it who aren't the ones writing it think you have to tell everybody how to feel, have to explain everything to everybody. And I'm like, no, the audiences are smart enough to sort of figure out what you mean. I mean, if you watch Sinners, like nothing is like so like there's like some exposition in it, but it's not like a crazy long explanation. Da 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 da. You know what I mean? So I liked it because I feel like Sinners kind of showed us rather than told us everything. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, and I thought kind of like the discussion of the spores was quite like scary and haunting, right? Because she's like it's in the air, and then you see the other wolf leaders kind of like face like she looks scared. Like, what do you mean it's in the air? You know, I really like that. I thought that was great. I think it really added to just like the level of horror of just like, okay, you gotta have this fungal infection where you can only get like bit, you know. And now it's in the air. Like, that just changes everything. You know what I mean? Which I did write. I'm like, is spores too complex now? In terms of just, like, they introduced, like, stalkers. We have bloaters. Don't know if we're getting shamblers. I don't think we're getting shamblers in this one. But sort of introducing one type of, like, a smarter infected, and then you also have spores. Is it gonna like kind of butt heads too much and be too much for 7 hours of television, you know what I mean, versus 30 something hours of game? I think it's fine how they handled it. I think it does work. It's just more how is it gonna be in the future? Is it just you introduce spores in just like this area, or are we getting it in other areas, you know? So it just depends on that, you know what I mean? But, yeah, so then we have, like, Dina tracking. Dina's smarter than Ellie still. I don't like how they keep doing that to where they make Dina smarter than Ellie. Because Ellie's smart, you know what I mean? And you kind of get a little bit of her smarts here in this episode, but, like, she shouldn't be dumb at the expense of, right, do not forget shamblers. I never forget a shambler, girl. Trust me. But I don't think Dina should be smarter at the expense of Ellie's smartness. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I think it's a they said kind of earlier, in the earlier behind the scenes, that it's like to give kind of Dina something to do. I feel like you don't have to do that for Dina, like her being the companion and her driving force of wanting to be there not only for Ellie, but to get, like, maybe, like, her indirectly, like, she loved Joel too, right? So she feels some type of way about it as well. You know what I mean? That should be enough of a reason for Dina to be with Ellie. You know what I mean? On this trip, going to Seattle, going after the ones who did what they did to Joel. You know what I mean? Like, that should be enough. It shouldn't necessarily be that Dina has to be smarter than her. She has to have a purpose there in the dynamic. Yeah, sure she does, but I think making her just smarter doesn't necessarily work. For me, I don't like it at the expense of Ellie. You know what I mean? That's what I don't like. And then you get Ellie is just as smart as her woman. Yes, she really is, and she's extremely smart in the game. And when I guess it kind of showed, like, her, I guess, like, tactics. Is where my dog's crying because he wants to leave, but he's locked in here with me now. I don't think Dina should be smarter. Like the way they handle it, I'm not a fan of. We get the theater scene, we get the guitar, but we get no flashback. Obviously, at the end of the episode, it teased we're getting Joel flashback in the next episode. Is the whole episode gonna be like different sections of the flashbacks? Because it's like the birthday stuff, but then it looks like maybe it's teasing when Ellie ran back to the hospital stuff. So it's just, did they do that? Wasn't the second to last episode of last season the Left Behind DLC? I see what you're doing. And Neil Druckmann's directing it, so we'll see how that goes. He hasn't directed an episode of television yet, so this is his first one. I will be critical of it. Someone who also works on television. And then they tell us about the scars. Again, Dina just explains everything about the scars again. And I'm like, there could be a reveal of it, you know what I mean? Other than just like, these wolves just say everything, you know what I mean? And they're just like, yeah, they're dumb. Or just like these Seraphites, they have like these sort of weapons or whatever, and they do this sort of thing. Like, it's pretty clear. You don't have to explain it. I also do think season 3 will focus solely on Abby. That's why I'm excited to get more of Nora, because I like Tati Gabrielle as Nora, what she was doing with her. I think that worked. Like, it's hard to say because a lot of what Tati Gabrielle was doing was from the game, so kind of, but I do like where she was making her own in the moment. So I think that'll be great to see her in season 3, and I think she's also the lead character in Naughty Dog's next game, so there's that. They're gonna go be reckless, because they're not going to be smart. They're going to be reckless. I put that in quotations. Dina's blowout. Girl, you're in the apocalypse. How are we getting a fresh blowout on a trip, girl? We don't even have a Dyson with us. How is Dina's hair just like full blowout, full perfection? I don't know. Whatever. Feel her love. You see the dead scars. Ellie wants to go back and take Dina back. Now, all of a sudden, she cares that Dina's pregnant. Didn't even care earlier when Dina tried to go with her that, like, hey, you shouldn't, because what if you die and you're with child? Like, let's not do that. All of a sudden, Ellie cares. Dina's pregnant. You shouldn't be out here after they're already out there. Okay, Ellie. Okay, Ellie. Dina's still from New Mexico. Clock that. You get a little bit of Dina's backstory, and then you kind of get like a vibe change from her. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was much more Ellie talking than Dina talking. We've always seen Dina's personality as being very outgoing. She's bubbly. She's always kind of like, not always in like a good mood, but you know what I mean? So when she's kind of giving like the story with her mom and her sister, it's just sort of just like a switch flipped, and it was just like, I'm kind of scared of Dina right now, you know? So that was very interesting, and I think it just makes Ellie and Dina seem much more similar, like kind of too similar in a way, you know? So I just wish that could have been, I wouldn't say, I didn't mind the acting in it. I think Isabella Merced is amazing, and I love her as Dina, so I think there's some, I don't know, there's something, and I don't know if it's necessarily the writing in it, or it's like the directing, or if it's like a combination of it all that just kind of like, it's not reading for me as I think they wanted to. Dina, if I die, it's on me. Girl, what are you foreshadowing? What? Don't be foreshadowing, Dina, like that, okay? Dina, oh, and I wrote, Dina drives Ellie's motivation. She kind of convinces her. So that's the thing with, this is something I'm not enjoying about the season. I feel like she was getting annoyed with Ellie. I was like, that's your woman. Why are you acting like that, Dina? Hee hee. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of the motivation for Ellie the last few episodes and most of the season seems to really be Dina. And I'm like, it should be Ellie's anger and her revenge and like her grief, you know what I mean? So you kind of very much see it here in the kind of more beginning, first half of the episode, to where you are kind of seeing it just being kind of like Dina being her driving force, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Let me let my dog out. Hold up. That sounded crazy, and I'm sorry for it, but they're just running out and barking. They're fine. The dogs. I knew that was going to happen too. So I apologize if you heard the doggies being angry. But yeah, so then I don't like that is, again, that this, like, the much more focus on the show seems to be like Dina and Ellie's relationship and that dynamic. But I like that. I don't like that, because then again, like, the whole part of like Ellie kind of going to Seattle is like, yeah, to get revenge for Joel, but then there's like the Uncle Tommy thing in the game where they're kind of also going after Uncle Tommy at the same time. They need to go get Uncle Tommy, and then they need to go get, but then there's this other thing there too as well, you know what I mean? And then so you kind of see, it has happened like day 2 of Seattle, Ellie's motivation switch, and this is like day 2, right? I think. I don't even know. Did they say it in the episode? I didn't catch it. Is that like that's where you kind of see her motivation shift, and that's what happens like here in the episode. But like I like that with zero previous focus, other than when they first are leaving Jackson. Is it about them? Is it about Ellie's like anger, her grief, and the revenge, and all that other stuff come into play until just like randomly when when it has to be convenient for the plot, then it matters. You know what I mean? But then it just comes out of nowhere. It just feels like so out of place, a lot of it. And then you get this sort of random building with the infected, the stalkers, Ellie's infection. Oh, I wrote this down. It seems that, like, in the TV show, it seems that Ellie's infection is her strongest defense. You know what I mean? It's not the fact that she's, like, a skilled fighter, that she's smart, that she's, like, driven by her emotions or whatever. It's the fact that she's infected and she can't get bit. And then that's just, like, her defense for everything. You know what I mean? Like, nothing else that's happened in the show matters except for kind of like that. In a way. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this sort of just like, oh, she's infected. She can't get bit. Let's use that everywhere type of thing. You know what I mean? Versus, like, in the game, it's not used anywhere. And she's such like a skilled fighter and is very resourceful that, like, that's almost on, like, the back burner. You know what I mean? When you play the game a lot of the time, unless you come around, like, infected. Yeah, she can get ripped apart, but, like, it's also, like, it's all like with the spores and just like you know what I mean? Like it just seems to really be something that is just like her strongest defense in the TV show, and I don't like that because they're not consistent with Ellie being skilled, or even if she is skilled, it's overly skilled in combat, or she's dumb and she's weak against one person. Like, you have to have consistency with that, and it almost feels like the moment she is more skilled in it, like at the end of the episode, almost, I'm just like, that's kind of like the Ellie I thought from season 1 was kind of giving, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't, like, it needs to be either or, because they've shown her being weaker, I feel like, air quotes I'm a lot more in the TV show than they've showed, like, her skill and her strength. Like, why does she have more 5 years ago than she does now? I'm not a fan of it, you know what I mean? So yeah, and then you see the stealth, and then you kind of see Dina still being smarter. You have this random warehouse, new location. It doesn't have as many shown in the last episode. Somebody commented on last week's live stream. Well, like the video version of it, the bot, I guess. They're just like, it felt like Seattle's greatest hits. You know what I mean? And I'm like, then they didn't have to shove as many into one episode. You know what I mean? Because we got like 2 in this one. I mean 3. You have the theater, which is like home base, so I don't really count that. You have the park, which might as well is the forest, not even the park. It's so big. And then you have the hospital. You know what I mean? So it's like, it could have been the convention center where there is the stalkers, you know what I mean? And you could have had Ellie geek out a little bit and get a little bit more of that side of her personality. You know what I mean? Like, that, to me, makes sense if it would have been the convention center, which were on par with how they write Ellie in the TV show versus in, like, the video game. You know? And you kind of see her nerd out a little bit with her Savage Starlight. It could have, like, I could see it just playing out in the moment, but HBO did not do that. And then you sort of see the stalkers. And I think I wrote and spores, and it was not spores yet. But you have the stalkers. There was like 7 stalkers. Take me out. I ain't fighting that many stalkers at once. Okay, just like take me out. You know what I mean? And it was kind of like a smart plan. Like, Dina, you go and you hide, and then Ellie does it. But it's like Ellie's seems like much more concerned for Dina, that she's like gonna die, and they're both kind of like gonna die in the situation, and it's like they both are either skilled or they're like don't know what to do in the moment. And again, I need the same energy for everything. And then you kind of see, I wrote Gina freaks out, shooting is a last resort, but they still shoot. You see Jesse My man is back, okay? I love getting more Jesse out of the TV show than we got in the game. Stalker's part was damn good. It was good, and it was, like, terrifying. Like, I would have just, like, jumped out a window or so. I would have found something to do. I mean, if you do run, they do chase after you, so that's not really the best thing to do. But, like, I wouldn't know what to do in that situation, honestly. Molotov? Where's the Molotovs in the TV show? We have these bonds, we have these Molotovs. I do like how it is much more of an action. Like, the level of action I feel like we're getting here is what I wanted in season 1. But, like, they don't, like, it's like, it's like there's not a balance. It's like there's still, like, it feels like the way that they're including the action and the more drama parts of it, I know for sure they are much more focused on the drama factors of the game and translating that to TV. But, like, you're also talking about, like, an action post-apocalyptic video game with stealth elements, with run and gun elements, like, with all these other elements in there. And I think they're doing, like, a good job of it, but it feels like they're filling it out, like, for season, like, it should have been season 1 type stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion, you know? Because I'm like, did we deserve more? Yes. But, like, also, I do like what they are doing so far. But, like, I guess it's more the pacing and the tone shifts between getting in and out of the fights in the TV show are just much more drastic than in the game. And you definitely, again, see that their focus is much more... Because sometimes the drama happens within the fight and the dynamic of the fight versus it just being a fight. To have that in there to make the fans happy, and then, boom, we want the drama. You know, like, you can do both. But they don't... They kind of don't do that. Okay, we get Jesse. They do that Joel sort of moment because, remember, those of us who remember, way back in the day, many, many years ago, when we were ready, and it was gameplay, I don't even think it was a gameplay trailer. I think it was a cinematic trailer. Whatever. It was a trailer for The Last of Us Part 2 before the game came out. Oh my god. Joel goes like this. Turn around. It's Papa. What happens in the game? It's Jesse. Punk fake of the century. Did it again. Because it's kind of like the silhouette. I'm just like, oh, it's going to be either Jesse or Uncle Tommy. But obviously Ellie thinks it's a Joel. Did that again. Remixed it. But yeah. And then Jesse's a badass. We love that. We love that Jesse's a badass. But like, I kind of like... Uncle Tommy's also in Seattle. And they split up. And I hope Uncle Tommy went crazy and is giving us, like, the Seattle Uncle Tommy from the game. You know what I mean? Like, he's just, like, that. Like, we may not see Manny. You know what? I don't think we're going to get any more Manny in the TV show. Because the next episode's a flashback, and then, because in the game, Uncle Tommy kills Manny, right? I don't think we're going to get him anymore. That's such a shame. That's such a shame because I love Danny Ramirez and his beautiful face. That's such a shame. Anyways, we'll get him more in season 3. But, where was I? I've lost in my notes. Tommy came again. I'm going to need to see Uncle Tommy pop off. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's it's what the fans want. The fans want either Uncle Tommy and Joel backstory, or like Uncle Tommy DLC in Seattle. That's what the people want. I don't want to play Uncle Tommy in my PS5 version of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered in the stupid horde game mode thing. You know what I mean? I don't want that. I want to be Uncle Tommy. I want to be Uncle Tommy. Anyways, that's my Uncle Tommy rant for today. Park scene, super dope. I really like that. And I like how they kind of like, you see kind of like, it's much more, rather than like, it felt like, you remember when you're Abby and she's about to get strung up and how like horrifying that is in the game, like how truly scary it is. That's kind of like the tone I got there out of the TV show. So I'm like, whenever, well, season 3 comes around and say Abby does get taken by the Seraphites, which also makes sense why we haven't heard any casting things about Lev or Yara, and I'm sure we'll see Lev. Hopefully, they better. But it's only... Lev is just like a blur in the background in that first scene that you see them in the theater, right? But anyways, I liked it was really cool because you could truly see how, like, horrific the acts that they do are. Like, not, and nobody's innocent by any means whatsoever in the game, and that's something, a theme in the game that they always try and shove down your throat. But yeah, and then so we see the scars kill the wolf. I do like how they don't hold back there. You see Dina get shot with the arrow, which was a change of things, which I think is going to lead to her to being stuck in the theater for a while. Let alone, girl, you shouldn't be fighting when you're pregnant, because it's just fact that most miscarriages can happen within the first 3 months. We don't even got to go into, like, that part of it. But, like, girl, we shouldn't be out there. And Ellie doesn't feel at all guilty about it. It's so crazy that, like, I know that Jesse started carrying Dina, right? And they sort of went their separate ways. But, like, Ellie, where's your I'm going to be a dad moment? Like, with Dina there. So yeah, I wrote bad side of the Seraphites. I did write woods or a park because, again, it did feel like the much more thicker foresty section of the game as Abby than it did the park section with Ellie. Ellie sees a hospital. She goes alone, just a flip, like, switches, girl, out of nowhere. Because, like, I think, like, for me, I can pretty much separate the game from the TV show because I feel like they're so different, right? So, like, when Ellie makes the push to go to the hospital or the push to go to the aquarium, you understand that she's driven by her anger and the revenge and her grief and all of that. You know what I mean? But in the TV show, when they throw it out of nowhere, when Ellie makes that, and it does make it a very clear-cut decision about, like, Ellie going from, like, Dina, we need to kind of, like, help Dina, but in the game, it's like, Uncle Tommy, we need to get Uncle Tommy, you know what I mean? It's wolves, you know what I mean? Salt Lake Crew. And so you do see that switch happen here, but it is just such a switch. Like, there's, like, not, like, the thing is, like, there's, like, people who played the game and who watch a TV show understand the character motivations, and when they get thrown in there, like, yeah, we know it's because Ellie is angry and wants revenge, you know what I mean? But viewers of the TV show can sort of assume that, but it hasn't been explored as much, and which I would like it to. And I think it's just going to emotionally be heavier with this now because we're getting all the flashbacks next episode versus kind of like giving us like a flashback like maybe this episode, the birthday scene. And then you kind of see where there's not really like I don't even remember because it was like the first 2 or 3 episodes where it was much more like you see Ellie and Joel kind of on bad terms. You know what I mean? It's explored a little bit, you know what I mean? But like I think it's gonna be much, but it's like it's so far removed from it. Like you're going episodes and episodes and episodes. You're going hours of watching with the whole Ellie and Joel being sort of estranged a little bit, you know, that like it's just gonna like slap you in the face next episode. And I don't know if that's like that has to be the impact that they want, right? Is that like they want people to kind of it to like hit them hard in their heart, in their soul, you know what I mean? But there's a good way to do it. And in the game, when you are slowly experiencing the flashbacks and you sort of slowly see them in like estranged, it's been 5 years, we don't know how this relationship goes, this relationship got taken away from us, you know what I mean? So how do we get that through these flashback moments, you know? And it's like periodically through it, so you get the progression of it as you see the more they get estranged, the more the angrier, the more reckless Ellie becomes in the game, you know what I mean? But versus not getting that in the TV show, it's like so, it feels lost, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's, like, when you see Ellie making the switch to go to the hospital and then getting, like, the flashback scene next episode, or the whole episode is going to be a flashback probably, I bet you, that, like, that's when it's going to emotionally hit, but it should be an arc and not an arc, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like, and I don't think it's much more effective in the game, I would feel like. Right now, like, I would say, like, if somebody asked me, what's better? Should I, like, I really like the TV show, should I play the game? I'm like, yeah, play the game, because, like, it's so much, like, I think a lot of the complaints about the game is the writing, you know what I mean? And that's a complaint I think I've had in some of my playthroughs of it. but also it's just like compared to the TV show, I'm like, you know what? It actually makes a lot of sense what they did in the game. And I can actually, here I am. It's so crazy. If you watch like my first, I did Last of Us Part 2, PS4 version and Part 5, or no, PS5 version of it. I have both playthroughs up on my channel. It's like, the Switch must be crazy to see. If you watch those gameplays of mine, and to me, like, defending the game now, I'm like, what? I hope they don't overdo it with the flashbacks. Yeah, I didn't have that thought or that concern before, but now that you say it, there has to be, what are they gonna do? Like half an hour of the birthday episode, the last half, going back to the hospital sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be an emotional roller coaster next episode, I feel like, either way. And when I saw my dad, I got so happy. But like, and it's Neil Druckmann directing it, so it's like, I like Last of Us Part 1. There's elements I love about Part 2. But, like, at the same time, television directing is quite different than I feel like video game directing. So, movies to TV are quite different. And my most experience with my work is TV. So, I'm quite intrigued to see a little bit how he is in here. And I wonder how much... it's still, like, I want to know the dynamic behind the scenes of, like, who's much more charged creatively? Is it Craig Mazin? Is it Neil Druckmann? Is it the writers? Like, where is it all kind of, like, coming from? And where's this circle of thoughts and ideas blossoming from? I want to know. I need to understand it. Anyways, Ellie gets back to the episode. Ellie sees the hospital, goes alone. We see the introduction of the dogs with the wolves. You see the tall grass, the stealth element. And she just, like, went straight under the thing and just, like, disappeared. And then straight to Nora. Like, the episode was shorter. I do wonder if they did cut out Ellie's hospital sort of thing. But even if you want less action, and people wanted more infected action, that's definitely for sure what we're getting. But we're losing out on the wolf, on the more human interaction. Because they're not raiders now, they're wolves, right? And Seraphites. And we got the Seraphite action, you know what I mean? But then also, I feel like the threat is also the wolves. So if you would have maybe they felt like we should include the Seraphites and the wolves in the same episode. BS bullshit. Like they're in the middle of this war, you know, that's happening, that's ongoing. Like, you get caught on both sides, like, all the time, and you do truly get caught on both sides when you are Abby. But like, yeah, that definitely would have been something interesting to see. I wonder what they cut from it, because, again, someone who's worked in television, I know, like, I know stuff gets cut, you know what I mean? That could have, like, there's a series I worked on where, like, the episodes ended up being, like, 10 minutes shorter than I thought they were going to be. And I'm like, oh, they cut out, like, all these scenes from, like, the TV show, and I guess it sort of makes sense or whatever. So it makes me wonder what they cut. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, you read it, the script, and it's like a TV script or a movie script. It's essentially 1 minute per page, right? That's what it sort of translates to. That's how the math works. I don't know. So if you have like 120-page script, you get like almost 120 minutes. Like, it's very much kind of, it translates pretty easily. So our scripts were like 50 to like 60 pages, and then the episodes ended up being like 45 to 50, I felt like. So I want to know what they would have cut out. And I don't think it was the hospital section, which has me intrigued. Because I'm like, what section, like, what would they have cut out? I don't know. And when it does get to, like, the behind the scenes of, like, when it goes to, like, at the end of the episode and he's talked to the directors and the writers and the showrunners and everything, obviously they're much more focused on the drama than the actual action part of it. But just, like, it goes, like, back to the thing of just, like, Ellie be dumb in certain situations, and then all of a sudden Ellie can sneak through a wolf-infested hospital. With no problem? With no problem, I'm just gonna believe that? No struggle to get there? You know how long I struggled the first time I did that? Okay, and you're just gonna put in the TV show and just Ellie just crawl in the grass, crawl through the hole, and Nora, what's up? Nora, what's up? I don't believe you. Okay. I think there should have been some aspect of her getting through like I don't like it just. Ugh. I wonder how the racking will look next season if they even do it. I'm sure that they will. I'm sure that they will do the rack. I don't like. How would they do that though? Because that fight is like pretty crazy. But I think next season we'll have more action as well. Because the thing with the game is Abby has the best sections in the game. She has the coolest sections of it, and she has the best, like, sequences, the best combat missions. So next season's going to be more action. They better make it more action-packed. You know what I mean? They better. You know what I mean? And there better be spores in that hotel, and she better go through that hotel alive. Is all I gotta say. Which, you know what? Let me kind of finish it up because I got thoughts on the spores. Okay, so they're not, like, it says that they were clearing the hospital earlier, but I don't know. We don't know how, like, the beginning of the episode, I don't know how much back in time that took versus, modern day. Like, it just felt like it was last week, girl. Like, honestly, it felt like it was last week. It could have been 3 years ago. It feels like last week. I don't know, that one lady, I don't know if she's still there. That's the thing. That makes me think it's like a further flashback. Because that lady was debriefing the sergeant or whatever for the wolves. And it made me feel like it was like way in the back past versus kind of being much more like last week type of thing. But it could have been, I felt like it was, watching it, it was last week. You know, that they discovered the spores, you know. But yeah, so it's not like actively clearing out the hospital because Nora's attending to patients versus in the game it's a clearing out of the hospital, which makes me wonder, like, and it did because that's in the beginning of the episode they did say they were clearing out the floors, you know what I mean, until they got to the basements, you know, so like that's what makes me think it was like last week, but again it could be 3 years ago, you know, I'm not exactly sure, but they're not actively doing it. Which they're gonna still have Isaac infiltrate the island. I feel like all the stuff we got from Isaac this season so far is very much that's still the driving plot point. It might just be throwing last minute there at the end of the last episode of season 3, or just randomly in like episode 5, just like random. Here's Isaac's plan: infiltrate the island. There's a storm. Just randomly, you know what I mean? But they're not like actively doing it. And again, Ellie and Abby's storylines take place at the same time, so I'm confusion right now. Ellie just gets in like nothing. The game convo and Ellie and Nora feels oddly placed. Yeah, just because it's just like I felt like when it started happening, like I liked what they were doing with it, and I thought the acting was great. But like when it started, it was just like out of nowhere. Like, Ellie just came out of a fight. She just snuck away into the building, nothing, and then boom, game dialogue. Like, it just, there was no build-up. There was no anticipation. You know what I mean? So it just kind of felt like, whoa. You know, I felt a little bit like that. Like, I don't know. It felt oddly placed. The Nora chase, I thought that was beautifully done. That was really, really excellent. I really liked how they did that. And then you get to the basement, and then we see spores for the first time, which is the worst fungus I've ever seen. That looked disgusting. It is not that bad in the game. I think the most infected place you go through is the hospital, and then also the hotel. And I feel like the hotel is worse because it's, like, falling apart. You know what I mean? But the hospital is pretty grody. Like, really grody. So, like, and the section that you go through with Ellie doesn't look like that. Like, what is Abby's section going to look like when we're at the bottom of the hospital? Like, crazy. Like, it was gross. I was like, ugh, you know what I mean? And it does seem like in the game, it's older infected that gets stuck to the walls. It's like you get infected, you sort of come one with the fungus, and it's like you're a bloater, you're a clicker, or you're a stalker. You know what I mean? In this one, you're just in this sort of horrendous cycle of breathing out spores. You know what I mean? And it's just like you see someone in like a hospital gown, and then you see the guy from last week Was he there from last week or 3 years ago? I still don't know. There who's just like covered as much with fungus as the other guy. So it goes to like the plot point that a lot of people had in the game. They're like, why does Seattle look like it's been overgrown for 200 years and not like 30? You know what I mean? It's sort of the same thing. I'm like, shouldn't he have less fungus on him than the other guy who's been here since the beginning? Like, where's the continuity? Is she not a thing? Probably not, girl. I work in film. Tell me, you can trust me. Her son. Oh yeah, I put her son within days attached to the wall. You see Ellie just red light. Abby's father reveal just out there, just out of nowhere. Just okay. Just tell everybody. Where's the discovery? You know what I mean? Because Ellie eventually... I forgot how Ellie finds out in the game. Does she ever? I mean, she knows she's a Firefly, so she assumes, but I don't remember if Ellie finds out explicitly that it was Abby's dad that Joel killed and that's why she did it. I'll be honest, I don't remember. Does she? I don't remember. Doesn't even matter because I feel like it's not that big of like a driving force. She understands why Abby went after Joel. She understands why Abby went after her again. You know what I mean? In the theater. But like, I mean, obviously loved ones is close enough, right? It doesn't have to be your dad. Now Ellie's tough. I put that there because again, the switch up between her being like dumb in the episode, then all of a sudden smart and rageful and all that was kind of like crazy. Like it would have made much more sense if you get that like Ellie's smart, Ellie's skilled, Ellie has this and that. You know what I mean? So like when she acts out in this way against Nora, it's much more within the character that we've seen from her, not just like sprinkle here episode 1, maybe a little bit in episode 2, a little pinch there episode 3. You know what I mean? So it's just like a crazy switch that gets flipped, and I'm just like, it almost feels like they're making it happen because they have to follow the video game, not because it's on par of what they want the characters to do. And it's just like, and obviously it's like one of the biggest moments in the game, and I thought it was handled pretty well. You know what I mean? But I've never seen that part of Ellie again since like season 1. Like I've been waiting to get that side of Ellie since this whole season. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of made me upset about it is I'm like, I've been kind of like, this is the Ellie that I know. This is like, I understand her and her actions up to this point and what she's doing. Deep down, I do. In the video game, I do. In the TV show, I don't. So it's hard for me to make that connection and like justify her actions if it hasn't been really presented to us before. So I just wish they would have kind of showed that more kind of angry, skilled fighter, driven by revenge and her emotion side of Ellie much more earlier in the series than now. And then we get the next episode flash. Oh, again, I did my Pedro hearts. Let me see if you can see those. My Pedro. I wrote Pedro and there's hearts around his name. Because my dad. Okay, and that's sort of like the end of the episode as you kind of get back to the flashback. So I think that's where the TV show connects the part of just like Ellie's being driven by her like revenge now and her anger and all of her emotions. That's where you're seeing it connect. But I should not have to wait until episode 5, 3 whole episodes after the events took place for me to feel like I understand Ellie's going after this for revenge. You know what I mean? I didn't necessarily feel that when she was trying to convince the Jacksonites to go to Seattle. I didn't really feel it then. I mean, honest. Not too much. Not as well as I do now, you know? But versus in the game, you sort of know it right away. You know what I mean? But I don't think it should take me 2 whole episodes. If you want to argue that 3 kind of did show that, it shouldn't take me 2 whole episodes, almost 2 hours, for me to understand Ellie's motivation. This late in the game, I am disgusted. That if you are, I need 3 more episodes. I need 2 more episodes. Obviously, we're not getting that. You know what I mean? And what we're getting next episode is flashback, and then the finale is going to be day 3, Seattle. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I kind of write some notes also whenever they do the behind the scenes of the episode or like making of The Last of Us. And the director said this is the beginning of Ellie's revenge quest. Back to what I was just saying. It shouldn't take 5 episodes, 3 removed from the event, to where it's the beginning of her revenge quest. This should have been in the beginning. This is the whole point of the game. The trailer of the second game was, I'm going to kill every one of them. You know what I mean? It should not be introduced this late in the game. If you want Ellie and Dina romance, if you want this weird Ellie, Dina, Jesse love triangle thing that's happening, that Dina just, whoever's available is who she goes after, which is crazy because not my Dina. Not my wife in the game. My Dina would never. You know what I mean? She would never do that to me. TV show Dina, whoever's available. Oh, somebody voted no. They didn't like it. It's like a 6 out of 10 for me still. Like, I don't like it. The cool moments, the Seraphites hospital scene was cool. The fungus was cool. Gross, I mean. But really well done. Stalker, scary. But again, like, some of the other stuff, I just have so many other issues with that. It's just, like, it's not, like, because it's not for the fact that it's not sticking to the game to a T. It's that, like, I need it to be consistent within the motivations and the characterization that they're laying out in front of me. And when they want something to be this way, but the game does this way, it just slaps you in the face. So, anyways, Dina takes care of Ellie, and then they you see them switch roles, which is what they were saying at the end of the episode in the stalker scenario. It's like, then why, like, then it just is so out of character with, it's almost like they're giving Ellie the same arc in the first season. You know what I mean? Because it's whenever Joel gets hurt, does Ellie become like the provider for Joel, which they did talk about. But then why are you making it be like 5 episodes for her to be taking on this sort of protective role? You know what I mean? And in the game, Ellie's never like explicitly protective of Dina. You know, like she is, but like not like to where she's driving necessarily every single fight encounter. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily the case in the video game. Because Dina does save us in the school, you know. But like I don't know. The way, like, I don't know sometimes what people be writing. Yeah, I don't think it, like, it's just like they want the roles to switch, but I don't think it's so necessary. Because I think, I don't know, like, to me, it would make sense if they have, like, similar skill level, which it seems like Dina and Ellie do, and Jesse and Uncle Tommy and Joel, and everybody's overpowered them, but then they sort of can handle their own, but, like, sometimes, like, I know, whatever. And, yeah, and then it sort of spoke about this love triangle, which I think, like, in the game you see a little bit when you do get Jesse in the theater with Dina, but it's almost to care for her as, like, a person and someone he cares about, a part of his community, rather than him still being in love with her, you know what I mean? It's like, because in the game, like, but it's this sort of that back and forth that Dina and Jesse have. They break up, they get together, they're on and they're off, you know what I mean? And then it's just like a little bit of just like that flirting, and Ellie gets hurt from it a little bit, but it's never like explicitly comes between Ellie and Jesse's friendship, you know what I mean? Versus in the TV show, it seems like it might be, or at least the way they explained it, and I'm like, oh, Jesse was my boy, you know what I mean? Like, my boy. And now all of a sudden he's mad that I got his girl? Don't be mad, homie. I'll miss you. But yeah, so then it just makes Dina seem like she just goes whoever's available, after whoever's available, right next to her. Well, Ellie's in the hospital, she was with Jesse. Well, she's with Seattle, she's with Ellie, not Jesse. Now that Ellie's gonna go off and do missions by herself, is she gonna get on with Jesse again? Because she's carrying his child. I don't know. Like, it makes me, like, not my Dina. Again, I don't have a problem with the way she's being portrayed. I have the problem with the way she's being written. And then, yeah, that run section was amazing. And then at the end of the episode and in the beginning with the one that was attached to the wall park, the one sergeant's son. And then Craig Mazin explained it is like you see someone make the opposite decision of Joel and they get praised as heroic. You know what I mean? But then like you see what her son is being subjugated to within the show, and that is her. Like, I wouldn't do that to somebody I loved. I wouldn't, like, if they're like, I'm infected, I'm gonna do the humane thing and be like, pop, pop, you're not gonna suffer through this way. You know what I mean? Which, it's just like, I don't know what they're trying to do with that one. Because it's like, they have the two sides of the same coin thing happening, right? So it's like, it's like, I don't know. I don't, like, it almost like the game presents itself in a way of Joel's decision. You may not agree with it, but it's his decision. And most fans of it, oh my God, Ramses, hello, you've reached the end, of it. But like, it's cause it's like past 9 and I've been ranting for too long. But like, it's almost like, it's like, Joel did what he did because he loved Ellie. And then you see that the sergeant did what she did to her son to save people, right? And now she has to live with that. But she doesn't know what's actually happening to him. Or does she? And that's crazy to leave your child subjugated to something like that. It's crazy. To me, it is. To me, it is. I would not be okay with myself letting them breathe out spores for the rest of their, I don't know, existence until they nuke the place, I guess. In that way. And again, she was praised as being heroic, right? And I feel like most people look at Joel as being, I don't know if I would say like heroic, but like that most people would probably do what Joel did out of love, you know? And then you see what the sergeant did to their child and just is breathing spores like crazy. But yeah, I don't know if they're trying to make it seem like, yeah, then what Joel did was the right thing, but the game never, like, when the first game ends, you sort of are left wondering, did I do the right thing almost? Or like, did Joel do the right thing? Like, I did because I love my child, but then I just took away the cure or whatever, you know? And then in the second game, it's like, you understand why he did what he did, but you could still disagree with it or agree with it, but it doesn't necessarily, I feel like, change the, I don't know, like, them being a much more kind of just, like, you see what's happening to their son and they're being praised as heroic versus Joel being played as, like, the evil man, but then actually our roles reversed? Because what you're telling me surface level is that, but you look deeper into the context and you do an analysis of it, it's almost like, yeah, Joel did the right thing. But, like, I don't like The Last of Us telling me that. I feel like the viewers should come with that out of their own. You know what I mean? Versus kind of just being, like, a little bit more, I don't know, like, they're much more sort of decisive in that concept of it. I love it much being more open-ended of a discussion that, like, the fans can have in, like, YouTube comments or something, or in Reddits, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I just kind of, like, and everything's two sides of the same coin with this game and this narrative that they're doing. But, yeah, I just kind of wish that, like, I don't know, I definitely understand why they did it, but like, having something just, like, such, like, a side character, not necessarily, like, a throwaway type of thing, but, like, something on the side just be just, like, this one compares it, so then it makes everybody, Ramses, I read your comment and I lost my train of thought. Whatever. I forgot what I was going on about. Certified yapper here. Definitely better if it was a show, don't tell scenario. That's what I've been saying the whole season. And that's what I was ranting about for like 10 minutes earlier on in my stream. Which you'll have to definitely go back and, I don't know if you're watching live, Ramses, or if you're going back to the beginning of the stream. But yeah, overall, the episode, it's like a 6 out of 10 for me. Again, it's just, I forgot what I was talking about. It's okay. It must not have been that important. It was just more me ranting. But yeah, I need to end the stream because what's my call time tomorrow? What is my call time tomorrow? I think it's 6:30. Could call 7. Oh, wait, where am I? Why am I looking at the wrong? Okay, it is 6:30. What time? Okay, no, okay. So to get a decent amount of sleep and mentally prepare for having to return to my work tomorrow, which unfortunately I got 4 days this week, which means I did record gaming videos this weekend, so there will be videos this week, but there won't be like as many videos as I would like to do. I'll definitely go back out and check the beginning and see your thoughts. Yeah, because I've been doing this for like an hour almost, so I have lots of thoughts and opinions, okay? But I don't, like, I see people just like, what do they call it? It's not, like, what is it? Like, glaze the show a lot, kind of? I don't know if that's the right term to say. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's just, like, people either just, like, looking for, like, social media interactions because it happens a lot, or I'm like, are these actual, and it's just, like, the popular social media posts that I see, but I'm just like, I feel like fans of the games have thoughts and opinions like me, versus, like, I just see people just, like, glaze a little bit, and I'm just like, are you sure it's an 8 out of 10? Are you sure it's an 8 out of 10? I don't know. There's just things that it's been, like, issues I've had consistently, and now they turn into bigger issues because they want to flip it back to the game, and it's just not all working out together. But, I'm new to your channel. I really like your content. Would like to be a supporter. Well, thank you. Thank you for wanting to support me. We do live streams after every episode of The Last of Us, so far, and then I do like doing this, though. It is fun to bring this type of content to this channel. I like it. At most a 6 or 7 out of 10, lol. Yeah. For sure. I could definitely see it being a 7 for the Seraphite scene. I would make it for that, but it was also like a 6 at the same time. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions. I have to end the stream because I should be getting ready for bed. I should start toning it down, doing that. But yes, there will be gaming videos this week. It is only Assassin's Creed Shadows, unfortunately, because I only recorded videos yesterday, and that's what I did. And I only have 4 days a week, so maybe Thursday that I have off, I can make videos. And, like, the thing is, like, yes, I'm so grateful for work, but then I'm, like, so exhausted, and then I can't make other, like, I miss making videos, and I miss my bread so much, my sourdough. I haven't made Rachel, like, a loaf of bread in so long. I feel so lost. I love her. I miss her. But, yeah, so the hits were Seraphites, the hospital scene. It, like, standalone, like, you remove the hospital scene out of context of the rest of the entire season, I'm like, pretty dope. Spores, that's gross. That's not in the game. I didn't like seeing that in person. And then the intro, I think, was really good. The beginning, the park was good. Dina's blowout as flawless as ever, as it should never be in the apocalypse. Nowhere chase good. The chase was really good. Park scene was cool. Stalkers were scary. Yeah, that's all I got pretty much. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for this one. Please join me next week when I will be crying my eyes out at my father Pedro. My father Joel is back, and they put, like, the worst thing also is putting him in like one episode and not sprinkling the flashbacks throughout. Not only for just like the emotional arc of that, but also just like I just have one episode left. Anyways, here I go crying thinking about it. But, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the stream. and engaging. I always love that. And then same time next week for the next episode, where we will get space. Oh, they better do the scene. They better do the scene. Again, some of the most important scenes in the game, they do shot-for-shot recreation in the TV show. It's perfection. Do not mess with perfection. I need it, please. Anyways, we'll see how that goes. And especially since the writers love more drama than more than they like the actual source material. We'll see how it goes. Same time next week, catch one of my gaming videos. So yeah, and then maybe, again, I do like being booked for work, but it gives me less videos and less bread time, and it stresses me out. But hopefully I can sort of figure out a balance in terms of getting a little bit more regular, if I'm getting these days like more regularly. Like, I got 5 days. Did I get 5 days last week? I got 5 days last week. I worked 5 days the day before. This week I got 4. So yeah, just sort of getting back in the rhythm of working and then videos. I don't like sometimes it takes me a minute, okay? But thank you so much for watching the stream. Hope to see you in one of my gaming videos or checking out. I get much more in-depth thoughts about The Last of Us Part 2 as a standalone narrative in my playthroughs of it. Part 5 is definitely much more of a perspective of gearing up for Season 2, or the PS5 version of it. And Last of Us Part 2 is just my general overall Last of Us Part 2 thoughts, I feel like. But don't watch the old one, because it's kind of bad. It's like one of my first series I did on my channel, so maybe watch Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, the PS5 version. That'll be better. But yeah, or just watch my live streams, because I'm going to talk about it anyways, but you only get half the game here. So, yeah. See you guys next week. Bye. Love you.